Okay, well, I have to do the microphone because otherwise the online won't work. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started because it's 5 after, and our recording started at 8 o'clock, so people can skip ahead. But people can still trickle in. But so welcome to our, I can't even say, I usually said middle school mission trip meeting when I did this at Trinity in my first congregation. But this is the very first 7th and 8th grade mission trip that... girls, if you are interested in taking a sheet about the trip, you can come and grab one. So this is the very first 7th and 8th grade trip that Light of Christ has done. We have seen significant growth with our high school mission trips, and so sort of the next natural step is to provide one for the younger ages. So we are looking at shortly after school is out in June, the 8th through the 12th. This will be for current youth in 7th and 8th grade, so if they're currently in 7th and 8th grade now. And then the students that you're fine, I just decided to start. You haven't missed much, so come on in and grab a sheet. The students that are currently in 9th through 12th grade, that is the high school mission trip. So our 9th graders, although they're in confirmation, they overlap with our high school ministry, so they're still in confirmation, but they can do the high school mission trips in 9th grade. So this trip is really just for those two grades, 7th and 8th grade. We work with an organization called Service Learning Camps. You can find them online if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about them. But a friend in ministry, Don Marsh, was a youth director for, 30 or 40 years, started this company as a way for Lutheran youth directors to have low-cost mission trips that... When I first started in ministry, I needed to have everything done for me because I had no idea what I was doing. After having done this for 25 years, I don't need to have somebody plan everything for me. I can do a lot of it on my own. And so essentially what they provide is the service coordination and helping you to find the lodging and showers, some of those logistical things. But they are all the other things we are in charge of. So I write the devotional. I lead and plan worship with the kids and the adult leaders. We arrange our own transportation, food. We also do, food is a big piece of it, right? Because often with the organizations that provide a full mission trip, they will have staff that then does all of the meal coordinating, right? Well, we do that all on our own. So I will set up meal teams. And with one adult and depending on our numbers of kids, 3, 4, 5 kids, they cook the meal for the night. So we do some basic things, spaghetti, tacos, pulled pork sandwiches, soups, things like that. But they will help prepare and prep and serve the meals. So that's kind of a cool thing. Kids learn some skills there, some life skills, but then also any of the fun activities or evening activities we will plan. So the cool thing with being right here in Minneapolis is that there are some things in our own backyard that we will have fun checking out that we've maybe never done, like Minnehaha Falls, right? Like how many of us live out here but have never been down to some of these great locations, right? Yeah, we'll get to explore some things in our backyard. And then we also provide all of the adult leaders. So they have a site coordinator that works with us for all the service locations and checks in with us every single day, but they're not with us 24/7. So our adult leaders are super important, right? So kind of an idea of what the schedule would look like. We'd get here before church on Sunday morning, get packed up, go to worship here at our own congregation, wearing our trip t-shirts, and then head out to St. Paul, eat lunch somewhere. I'm thinking that I'll have the kids pack a picnic or a lunch that they can eat because they need to bring us a thermal bag for lunch every day anyway. And then they get to pack what they want, and we have a picnic somewhere, and it's kind of a nice out, go enjoy the beautiful outdoors in June. And then get to the church, unpack, have orientation. We'll do our grocery shopping. In the evening time, we'll possibly explore some local attractions, like I mentioned, like Minnehaha Falls or something. There's a park right across the street from the church that we're staying at. It's Luther Memorial Church in South St. Paul. The thing I found out today from Don is that their max is about 30 to 40, and so we'll have to see with our registration if everybody, now I know this won't happen, but I just was looking at the numbers, if everybody in 7th and 8th grade that's currently in our confirmation program signed up, there's 49. So we would not be able to take everybody, nor do I want to lead a first trip that's quite that large. So we took 35 youth and 20 adults to Belize, and it's a very different feel when you get in the 50s. So I'm hoping that this will be somewhere in the range of 15 to 25, and so we'll see. I mean, see how registration goes. And then the evening, every night we'll have supper, worship, sometimes with a bonfire, some free time, and get to bed at a decent time. Monday through Wednesday, we will serve at local social service agencies, so I don't know what those places are, but it might be something like Secondhand Harvest. It might be a soup kitchen in downtown Minneapolis. It will most likely do a Feed My Starving Children 2-hour shift at some point, because we just love it so much, and we can go to the Egan one pretty easily. Our showers will be at Central Square Community Center, so that's nice that we've got that lined up. I'm going to go and check out all these places. I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, but being that it's in our backyard. Well, even when we went to Chicago last summer, and even when we went to Belize, we've sent people to scout these trips ahead of time. So like when our group went to Belize, Pastor Bruce and Jennifer Slipka both went down in February to do scouting, to do our due diligence before we take kids there. So I will be doing that at some point. And so, of course, there's a chance that some of this could change because I get to the community center and I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to work for what I'm comfortable with kids, whatever. But what I do know is that Don has sent groups here before, so I trust him highly. I've known him for many years. But I will also go check it out before we go to make sure that it's what I think is the best fit for our group. So then Thursday morning, we will pack up and do something fun that day, and then get back to church in the evening time. So I'm guessing somewhere between 5 and 7 that evening. So 4 nights, 3 days of service, and a day of fun before we get home. We do need adult leaders. I'm at the bottom of the first page. We do need adult leaders for the trip. It is demanding in the sense that, like, we do get some downtime, but even during the downtime, we're hanging out, playing games, doing puzzles, whatever, like spending relational time with the kids, right? Now, that being said, you get a headache or something, I'm not going to force you to, you're going to get to go take a nap, right? If you need to. It's not like it's... If we need a break, we've got enough adults that we can do that. This is the beautiful thing about being able to plan the trip myself, is that I can cater to our group and what we need. A lot of times if you go through an organization, they have a schedule set and you plow through it. It doesn't matter what your group needs. It's like, it's 11 o'clock at night and we're just starting worship, but we are doing worship because that's on our schedule. When I'm leading it, I can kind of see how our group is doing and say, okay, we had a really long day at the service site. We spent all day painting a house. We're exhausted. We need a break for a little while. We're going to do shifts of showers and free time, and the meal team we're going to change up the meal team because, this kid doesn't feel, and I can just make those alterations, right? So, but I do need adult leaders for the trip. So think about that, pray about it. If it's I can tell you that it is just as rewarding for the adults that go as the kids that attend. I don't know if you've been at any of our mission trip worship services, but you hear those adults when they come back and the stories that they share. And I think it gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you an experience that you wouldn't have otherwise. And it's just amazing the relationships that are developed with the kids, We do normally provide a scholarship for each youth that attends. Now, this is a brand new trip, so I need to figure out how many people are going. What do we have in our scholarship account? What can we provide? Maybe we'll do, for this smaller trip, we might start doing 50 per trip. We'll see. But I do also probably need to have an event at some point that'll help build up that scholarship account, because we've depleted it a lot with our recent trips, and we haven't had any sort of event to get that money back up. But kids, you won't have your cell phone all week, so a lot of times we'll let them have them just for some of the travel, and then they'll turn them in, and I have them all week, and then they get them back for the very end. There's such little travel time that even if kids have a phone, I'd highly recommend that they just leave them at home, because they're just a liability, and they're young enough that you know how to get a hold of me. I will be in touch with parents. We'll be taking pictures. All the adults will have their phones. I will tell you that the high school kids that have gone on trips say the thing that they look forward to the most is being away from their phone for a week. They absolutely love it. It's a break. It causes them to build relationships in ways that doesn't normally happen. And typically when I'm like, okay, this is the day you're getting them back, they're like, can we just wait a few more hours? We don't want them yet. They'll push it as long as they can to get them back. It's really cool. Registration link will be sent out tomorrow morning, and you do a $100 deposit, which I say is non-refundable, but it can be, it's going to go into your youth account. So essentially, we have an account that doesn't fit, it's not in the general budget. So it is separate from that. It's a separate bucket. It is a year-round, like it doesn't ever end, right? So like with the church general budget, it's January to December. We close our books. Like we're either in the black or the red, and they figure all that out, and it's ended at December, and then it starts a new budget in January. This youth account, because, well, so for example, Megan Weston, like you get fundraise money, and we don't want that to close in December. It's going to stay in your specific youth account when you raise money, and let's say you raise more than you need for this trip, then it stays there for a future summer if you go on another trip, right? So your deposit will go in there. Don is really flexible with me, so typically he's able to, I want people to commit, so that's why we ask for a deposit, right? Like I want you to not sign up unless you really are going to go. But if something happens where you need to cancel because you have a death in the family or whatever, like we are going to figure it out, and you're not, we'll talk through those scenarios. But our youth fundraiser is already set for February 7th, so save the date for that. We'll do our auction and spaghetti dinner again. We are going to have this group also participate with that and raise money. I will tell you that you raise money based on what you work. So if you are not there at all, you won't raise any money at all. Every kid across the board has gotten the scholarship, but not everybody gets the fundraising money, because it's just those that put in the time are the ones that raise the funds. Okay, we're going to flip over. Not going to go through this packing list. I just kept it there. Of course, it's the fastest to just cut and paste from previous trips, so this is pretty general. I updated it per what I thought we would need, but you will, for those that sign up, this kind of just gives you an idea, but we will have more specific meetings for those that are signed up and going as it gets closer. Can't bring anything like curling irons, blow dryers, anything that is explicit in clothing or violent, like we want you to dress appropriately, we're representing our church. And then any sort of electronic devices, you can bring your phone, like I said, but you're not even going to hardly have it. Anything valuable, I encourage kids not to wear jewelry, that sort of thing, because it can just get lost and be a liability. Cost-wise, the service learning camps fee is $165. I just did $25 for a fun event. I have no idea what we're doing. It may be free, and then the price would the ending price will be what the ending price is, and you'll either keep money in your account or have to pay a little more depending on, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you raise $200, you put a $100 deposit on, and the trip costs $375 after the trip, or once we know the total of what it is, you would pay that last $75 or whatever. Or if you're over the money, that would just stay in your account. Lodging, we do give them, I think it's $10 a person a night. So that just is a donation to the church where we're staying. I'm not sure what gas and transportation will be, so that'll be to be determined. Our food estimate, I'm able to typically do $5 a meal, which breakfast is a lot less than that because, you just get a bunch of stuff, cereal, bagels. We often make eggs in the morning for those that want something hot. Anyway, that's a lot cheaper than $5 a meal, and then the other ones tend to be a little bit more. So $75 is more than generous for what we'll need, but that's probably the best estimate. About $30 for a t-shirt, and then if there's any miscellaneous costs. So I'm guessing with that transportation, we're going to be somewhere in the range of $350, $375. So it kind of gives you an idea. And then, any questions about money stuff at this point? I know it's still really vague, but it just kind of gives you an idea. So fundraising and youth accounts we talked about, so that will be yours all through high school. If you go to a Bible camp, if you go to on any of the mission trips or anything like that, that can be your account for fundraising, whatever it might be, like cancellation fees, all that. That'll just stay in your name. And if you have money after you graduate, if you have a younger sibling, it goes down to them. Okay? Trip payments, we will let you know at meetings. Vicki Notzelman is a member that manages our youth account. She's a volunteer. You've probably seen her around. and she will give updates. You can email whenever. Some of you may already have a youth account. I'm not sure. I'd have to. It might be that you actually, depending on if you have an older sibling or something from camp or something. So. Again, we talked about cancellation, what happens if you get sick. If you get sick on the trip, the nice thing about being local is that we can communicate with parents and we're close enough that we can figure that out. Now, if it's just a headache or something, I'm always going to have you drink water, but we have, we also talk about meds on here. If you have meds that you take on a regular basis, we always have an adult. You have to turn those in and have them labeled. We have an adult that administers for 2 reasons, safety obviously, but also for abuse of, if never know if someone else is going to take your meds, and we want to make sure to keep all kids safe, but then also you're not on your normal schedule, so it's easy to forget if you have to take it, so it just helps kids to stay in their routine and help them take the medications when they need to. But all the over-the-counter meds we provide, you're welcome to bring, I get headaches and I want this kind of Tylenol, then you still just have to turn it into us, but you can bring it along. And then what do the adult leaders do? We work really closely with the kids. So we have small groups, similar to what we do in confirmation, but we have a small group of kids that we work together for the whole week that we will have for any sort of discussion from the day or something around worship. There are different teams that will help plan worship. The kids take a ton of leadership in this, and so it's, I would say the largest thing the kids do, or the adults do, is just care for the students on the trip. They get to know them, they check in with them. I can't do that with all 30, 40 kids, and so the adult leaders really are the ones that are checking in more intimately with a small group of people and making sure that they're doing okay. Sometimes day 2, day 3-ish, we can have these breakdowns or meltdowns or whatever. It's been a lot, I'm struggling with this person, and you just need an adult to process or share some concerns with, right? So they kind of are an extension. You kind of become youth directors, just like me. You're getting to know a small group of kids, but you also get to have a lot of fun with them. So it's super rewarding. These trips have proven to be just life-changing for a lot of students that I've seen over the years. I've led trips everywhere from Jarabacoa, Dominican Republic, to Vancouver, Chicago, New York, Juarez, Mexico, Montana, and North Dakota, South Dakota for Indian reservations. I've been on probably close to 20 different, high school mission trips. And then we started, when I was at Trinity, my first 12 years, we did the same thing where after about 6 or 7 years, our high school trips were growing so much we needed to start middle school trips. So then we did one to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. We did the Four Corners. What is that? Where the 4 states meet. Anyway, so I started doing middle school trips there too. So I know that it's a huge responsibility that we do, taking your kids on trips, and I don't take that lightly. I believe so strongly in the power of prayer and how the congregation supports us. Now, it doesn't mean that nothing bad ever happens, because you wouldn't believe some of my stories from trips. There's a lot of wild things that happen on mission trips, but I do very much believe that God is with us and watching over us, and we make our choices very strongly around the safety of our kids, and we don't take that lightly, but I encourage parents to ask whatever questions. I'll do the best I can to research and make sure that where we're going is, there's risk wherever you go, right? Every time you step in your car. But clearly there are, Minneapolis is very different than it used to be. So we need to make sure that we're mindful of where we're going at certain times, right? But I know the church where we're staying is a wonderful place, and we'll never be outside at night, and we'll always be together as a group. There's just some standard things that you do. So I'm going to open it up for questions, and then we're going to get you out of here in 30 minutes. How about that? So it's a lot of information. I encourage you to sleep on it and talk with your kids. I'm looking for. I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity, and We are required to have an adult of each gender, assuming that we have both boys and girls on the trip, so I will need both moms and dads or males and females, depending on, I mean, there might be, someone that's interested in going on the trip that doesn't have a child going, and that's awesome too. So we've had several adults go that do not have children, like Heidi Werger is, her kids are all in college, and she's come on the last several high school mission trips. So maybe she'll decide to go on the 7th and 8th grade one this year. We'll see. So thank you for expressing some interest and entrusting your kids to us. And yeah, sign up tomorrow if you're interested in going. And I will let you know as changes, like if there's anything that changes with the schedule, or, I mean, Don was looking into some stuff with the church. I just feel like a Sunday to a Thursday is just a great, you've still got the weekend on kind of either side that you can have some family stuff. And I love being able to do the blessing here at church before we leave, and so. Okay, let's pray, and then I'll let you stick around and ask questions and we'll get you on the road if you're ready to go. God, we thank you for Light of Christ and for our mission here to help all kids and adults of all ages, learn how that they are your beloved child. I ask that you be with us in the planning of this trip, that you work in the hearts and minds of the students that are thinking about going and the parents that are considering sending their kids. Just help them to have good conversations about the opportunity, to think about the ways that they can be stretched and challenged, and the ways that we can continue to give our kids roots and wings and send them out in the world to be your hands and feet. So thank you for this night and the opportunity to talk about this great trip. And we pray that you are in and amidst, under, over, between, through all the details, that it would be just a way to shine your light. And all God's children said, amen. Thank you so much for coming.